Thank you, sir. I am extremely privileged and dignified to introduce our today's keynote speaker, Dr. Kalpana Gopalan, IAS, Additional Chief Secretary to Government of Karnataka, Bangalore, India. Dr. Kalpana Gopalan, IAS, is a composite public policy professional, practitioner, policymaker, scholar, author, volunteer, and mother. She wears many roles. She has secured the 20th rank in All India Combined Civil Service Examination in the year 1987. Her 31 years of work experience in the Indian administrative service spans land administration, urban management, public distribution system, rural development, training, and education. Dr. Kalpana is recipient of the Mother Teresa Women Empowerment Award in the year 2019 for her outstanding contribution to excellence in leadership. She was felicitated and awarded citations by the Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences in the year of 2019. We lead empowering women's growth in the year 2019 and many more. She stewarded the NLM UNESCO 2000 Award for Karnataka with her work in literacy and the Karnataka Ratna Award 2003 for Kaveri Handicrafts. She is also advisor to the Bangalore City Corporation and consultant to the Administrative Training Institute, Mysore. Dr. Kalpana combines a unique mix of academic and practical experience. She honed her research skills with a doctorate and master's in public policy from IIM Bangalore. She was rated among the top 2% of doctoral candidates in the past decade for her research on infrastructure public-private partnerships. A gold medalist and university topper in undergraduate and masters, she was visiting fellow at McGill and Concordia Universities in Canada, EU fellow in the University of Salerno in Italy, Chevening Scholar, Institute of Development Studies UK, and Maxwell Public Policy Scholar in Syracuse University, USA. She is a member in various academic advisory committee in different educational institutions of Pan-India. A prolific writer, blogger, and speaker, she has served as secretary, Toastmasters International in IIMB Orators. Widely traveled in North America, Europe, and Asia, Kalpana is comfortable living and working in a multicultural milieu. Ma'am, we are very happy to have you with us at this morning. Welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. My pleasure too.
Thank you, Dr. D. Vijayalakshmi. You will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor. We, SRM IST fraternity, highly privileged to honor you, ma'am, virtually.
Thank you so much. It is so lovely.
Geniuses have dramatic moments of insight where great things and thoughts are born whole. Poems are written in dreams. Symphonies are composed complete. Science is accomplished with Eureka tricks. Businesses are built by magic touch. Something is not, then is. Today, we have a person with full of intelligence that blended with management. Ma'am, we are highly honored and feel magnified with your presence virtually at this morning. May I now humbly take a step to call upon our eminent keynote speaker, Dr. Kalpana Gopalan, IAS, Additional Chief Secretary to Government of Karnataka, Bangalore, India. Ma'am, over to you happily.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that very detailed introduction and that lovely felicitation. Distinguished dignitaries, my fellow speakers, participants, and organizers of the 3-day virtual international conference on accelerating global higher education in the VUCA prime world. Let me at the outset congratulate SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Ramapuram campus, College of Science and Humanities, for performing such an interesting experiment in these unstable and uncertain times. Indeed, this conference is an actual demonstration of the future of global higher education in a VUCA world. As Dr. Ashokan mentioned, we have today 106 participants from 7 countries gathered here. At this very moment, while you watch me on screen from India and overseas, technology has enabled us to reach across both time and geography. Therefore, I consider it a privilege to be able to deliver the keynote address in this conference this morning. How do we shape the education of tomorrow? This question has three dimensions, and I will give a quick overview of all three. 1. What is the content of tomorrow's education? 2. What is the pedagogy of tomorrow's education? And 3. What are the challenges and consequences of tomorrow's education, and how do we meet them? First, what is the content of tomorrow's education? Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, it was becoming clear that technology was advancing at a speed and pace that our moribund syllabi were hard put to catch up with. Yuval Noah Harari, in his 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, predicts a robotic future where technology and digitalization has invaded every aspect of our lives. Just look around you. It is happening as we speak. COVID-19 has only accelerated the pace. Healthcare, higher education, even entertainment has digitized and moved online. Last year, in 2020, I was hospitalized with COVID-19. While in hospital, I cleared my files, my office files on e-office, electronic office. I was interviewed by a publisher on Gmail. I bickered with my husband over WhatsApp. And I kept boredom at bay with Netflix. So, life went on as usual, even when I was in isolation in hospital. That is the lure and allure of technology. That we can work and play with so little effort and almost no pain. That we will move towards more and more technology in education is perhaps a no-brainer. It is a trend to note, but for me, not so much a matter of concern. What worries me though is our preparedness to cope with this change. We are users ignorant of the technology that we use. I am from Bangalore, and we Bangaloreans boast of being a technology capital. But our expertise is mostly in information technology with some modest advances in biotech. What about artificial intelligence, robotics, and data analytics in public goods and systems? Precious little. At the first instance, updating our higher education is a priority, but this is not enough. If usage is pervasive, then understanding should be widespread as well. If a child of 10 can use an iPad, then she can jolly well know the basics of how it works. At the second level, we need, over and above knowledge, the discernment to use technology optimally and humanely. How can data help us solve the socio-economic conundrums that we find ourselves in? How do we distinguish fact from fake amidst information overload? Our siloistic educational structure is hardly adequate to grapple with these fundamental issues. An engineer, while he may specialize in computer science, still needs enough grounding in sociology and public policy and even arts. Just think of Apple and design for his skills to make meaningful contribution to society. A sociologist may understand the land-related conflicts in a community, but needs to know enough about emerging technologies such as GPS, 3D laser scanning, and digital photography to evolve techno-sociological solutions to resolve those conflicts. To cut a long story short, while the content of learning has to move towards understanding of technology and digitization, it should at the same time be broad-based with a generalist and holistic orientation. Let me now address our second question. What is the pedagogy of tomorrow's education? The obvious answer, we are going digital, going online. With an influx of new learning models available, educators are tapping into the digital revolution and adopting new technologies to help students reach their full potential. The dean speaking before me mentioned how SRM was going about this. An array of tools is available to assist, support, and perhaps usurp the stand-up teacher's hitherto unchallenged status. Artificial intelligence, chatbots, video learning, extended reality, to name just a few. But let us be mischievous and let us take a peek into the not so obvious. Technology has begun to change the roles of the traditional educational actors, the teachers and the learners. In the traditional classroom, the teacher is the sage on the stage, the sole repository of knowledge. However, because of the access to information and educational opportunity that technology has enabled, in many classrooms today, we see the teacher's role shifting to become the guide on the side, because students are taking more responsibility for their own learning. So, from a sage on the stage, the teacher becomes the guide on the side. The focus is on inquiry rather than knowledge. The teacher becomes a curator, leading the learner towards the right sources while rejecting the less credible ones. Those of you that teach know that this is no small shift. So, pedagogic underpinnings will move away from imparting and communication towards enabling, guiding, facilitating, and doing. Schools and universities will need to redesign learning spaces to enable this new model of education, foster more interaction and small group work, and use technology as an enabler. My third and final question. What are the challenges and consequences of tomorrow's education, and how do we meet them? Imagine a far-flung rural village in India or sub-Saharan Africa without electricity or infrastructure or a government school, at home to children studying on a smartphone provided by the government or an NGO under the guidance of astute mentors. This is the true power and potential of online learning platforms, transmitting knowledge to the farthest and marginalized corners of our countries. The most profound impact of technology is therefore to democratize learning. Technology has greatly expanded access to education. Rather than travel to centers of learning, information is available at one's fingertips through the internet. And opportunities for formal learning are available online worldwide through the Khan Academy, MOOCs, podcasts, and so on. opportunities for communication and collaboration have been expanded by technology. Traditionally, classrooms have been relatively isolated, and collaboration has been limited to other students in the same classroom or the same building. But today, technology enables forms of communication and collaboration undreamt of in the past. The walls of the classrooms are no longer a barrier because technology enables new ways of learning, communicating, and working collaboratively. New technologies are thus powerful tools to help schools meet the needs of ever more diverse student populations. The democratization of education raises important issues of equity. You remember just now the dean was speaking about how the urban students benefited more than the rural students, where there was a real challenge of connectivity. So the question, are schools providing students with equal access to technology? There is a digital divide that exists between the information rich and the information poor. Gender equity issues arise when girls are treated differently than boys in the use and encouragement to use technology. A student in a rural school that lacks fast internet connectivity does not have the same access to information as a student near a major city. The digital divide also extends beyond the school. More economically advantaged children usually have access to information sources through private service providers and home computers. Democratization of technology is therefore an important issue now, comprising internet connectivity, telecom infrastructure, affordability of online systems, availability of electronic infrastructure. Finally, let me look closer home. For Indians and India watchers, keep in mind that this shake-up in education is taking place alongside the launch of the new education policy. So there is the possibility that policy and practice can adapt to or facilitate the organic changes taking place in the education arena. Closing the gap between technology potential and its realization is largely a function of policy leadership, private initiative, and public acceptance. This is where the new education policy can play a role. The last year saw a flurry of activities by the Ministry of MHRD, now called the Ministry of Education, and various regulators, including CBSE and NCERT, to find online alternatives to ensure the continuation of education. But ad hoc activities and piecemeal initiatives cannot substitute for an intelligent, comprehensive, and holistic design. The shift towards tomorrow's education, of course, requires a change in mindset, in the thought process of policymakers, authorities, students, and educationists, and an open mind which accepts that both classroom and online provide value. But we need to go further. Modernity has given us many things. It has activated our physical and vital energy, sharpened the power of the intellect, and given us comforts. The coronavirus has shattered this confidence. It has brought us to the domain of ambiguity and perplexity. For all our specialized knowledge, we are almost incapable of engaging with the inherent uncertainty of existence. No, we are not the masters of the world. Not everything can be predicted or dominated. This realization should transform us from arrogant conquerors to questing seekers. It is in this context that we have to rethink education. My best wishes for stimulating discussions and deliberations in today's conference towards this rethink and reboot. Thank you all very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for your valuable information. Thank you.